I'm going to attempt to make a very simple but very elegant cuff. All you need is a center stone, some 6mm beads, 18 gauge, make sure everything has a hole drilled through it. You don't need a piece this big. In fact, I would even use a smaller piece if I had one that matched, but this will be nice to do a pattern on. And let's start. We'll just take a really long piece. I'm going to try to do this in one single piece. Let's see if this works. I'm going to take probably like 5 whole feet, but just one single piece. Let's see if we can do this. Cut it, obviously. Bring this stone to the very middle of the entire piece. Put the two ends together to find, and then pull to find the middle. And now that we have pretty much close to the middle, I'm going to turn these on opposite sides and make a loop on each one. It takes me a minute. I'm trying to navigate getting this wire around without knocking over the camera stand. Okay, these loops don't have to be great. They're just going to be used to hold wire later on. So lock each one in by giving it a half turn, like so, and like so. All right. Now, you don't have to do this pattern, but it's fun if you have a big flat bead stone like this. And I'm just going to cross these, just give a little fun little rose spiral in the middle here. So cross them in the middle and then start wrapping them around each other like this, pressing flat against the piece and moving one side and then the next side, and then the next side, coming around. This is going to be a lot easier for you because you don't have to hold this under a camera and worry about these long wires reaching out to try to grab the camera. And once you're happy with how many times you went around, you really don't have to go around more than once to get a cool little cute little spiral, but I think that's about 2 or 3 times. Fan them back out, have them come around and lock around each of these. Now we've got to bring the wires together, so we're going to take one of them and have it come straight down the back like this, and then pop up the front and join its friend there. We'll go around one more time just to lock them in, and there we have it. Now we are ready to begin the fun. Now the fun goes like this. We're going to curve these. Take one of our accent beads, put it on the inner part of the 2 curves. Now we take the other wire and wrap around it, around the top, and then all the way around back behind it. It's going behind it. And then we bring the wires back. Whoop, popped out. And you want to kind of get that bead to situate in that little circle, hold them tight, and then once you get it to about that point, it's not going to move. Fun, right? Okay, now we go backwards with a loop, like this. When I say backwards, I mean this looped this way, so this is going to loop this way. And we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep going forwards and backwards. So we'll go backwards with the loop, and then forwards again with another bead, same way, except this time it's going the opposite way. So again, of the curve, we pick the inner one to put the bead on. Don't let it slide all the way down, but almost all the way, and then take the other strand again and wrap around the top and come around the back, and then bring the strands back together, and then make a loop going the opposite way again. And sometimes these loops are tight, and sometimes the strands separate a little and come back together, and that's all part of the beauty. So if you can figure out how to make them separate and come back together in a cool pattern, do it. But if it's just kind of random and you can't figure out when it's happening and when it's not, just go with it, because it's going to come out pretty either way, trust me. So, and if you don't get these evenly spaced, just do your best. Like, I've done hundreds of patterns like this, so my fingers are kind of used to knowing how to roll the wire and push it back and forth. But if you're not finding it's working right for you, that means you just need to do it 100 times. That's it. And you'll get better and better at it. But enjoy it, because what you think is imperfection is going to look gorgeous to people who don't know how to even start it. All right, so I'm doing 2 beads on each side of the big stone. You can do more beads all the way down if you want. It's totally up to you, but I feel like the first, this is going to go halfway around the wrist on each side, and you're not going to see what's underneath the wrist as much. So 2 on each side is enough for me. Now I'm just going to continue this pattern of doing loops going every which way, like over, under, over, under. And I fear I'm going to run out of wire, so I'm going to stop it right here. This might be far enough anyway. And imagine that as a pendant. That would be a really long, elegant pendant. But I'm going to finish with one big loop like this. This is going to be the loop I use to connect the 2 ends of the cuff. And now I'm going to fold it completely over the top of this loop like this. Keeping the strands side by side, I'm going to now do a big rainbow across here. And try to get them to curve really nicely. And how far across do you want to go? It's up to you. I wouldn't go the whole length because if it's going to be weaker and you want to be a little stronger. So I'm going to go about halfway across like this. And I'm going to fold it right there. That feels about right. And try to keep the strands from rolling over each other. Try to keep the strands side by side. And mine are trying to make a corner there. I want to keep them round, nice and round. All right, fold that over. And now I'm going to do another. Ooh, see, I don't like that. I want that fold over all the way. All right, fold it over all the way because I want it to come around the other side now. And now I'm going to wrap it around the loop from this stone bead, go all the way around. Once around here, and lock it around that loop. And now we're going to do the same pattern again, going this way. And then you fold this over and you do the same rainbow loops across till you get back to the middle. If you want to have your big rainbow arcs be the opposite of the ones on this side and you find yourself on the wrong side at any given moment, just fold it over one more time to get on the side that you want to be on. So if you have enough wire left, we're coming finally around the main centerpiece one more time. Now, as you can see right now, you have a nice, perfect balance. The big arcs come across one side and then come across the other side. There's wire left. You can cut it about 1 inch and then roll little curly cues and just kind of tuck them in. Or you can take, if you have enough wire left, you can come across one more time and do a really big kind of arc to make one side a little bit more elegant than the other. But it's really, nobody's really going to know because it's going to be wrapped all the way around the wrist. They're just going to see, when they see the elegant side, they're going to say, ooh, that's elegant. And it'll give it a little more strength. So what you want to do is kind of come across the opposite of these. But I don't want to just make them fold into the same crevices because that'll just make those points unusually stronger and then the other points weaker. I'm going to try to do something a little different. I'm going to come across as an S curve maybe. Let's see if this works. Again, this is kind of experimental. All right, scratch that. I think I'm going to come across here. No, let's stick with it. Come across here, and right here we're going to have to fold right into that little spot. So I'm actually going to have to take, this is going to be a little trickier. I'm going to have to take this wire and thread it. Threading is not easy with 18 gauge, but I'll do one strand at a time. Just try not to kink it, and just roll it in. Okay, I think I got that around there. And to finish it off, I think I'm just going to come around like that. And scarf the last loop. That's it. Cut that. Tuck in those two sharp ends. Push them into the scarf. And now let's straighten everything out. And slowly, carefully, a little bit at a time, we're going to bend this into the shape of an oval for a wrist. You can do this with just your fingers or the pliers. The fingers are a little safer because the pliers can always still scratch if you're not careful, and you don't want that. Now, as it is, this will fit just by tension on the wrist of the average to petite person. Right now it's about, I think that's about 7 inches. It's about a 7-inch wrist. It's pretty average. And you can just hold it with tension. I don't like holding it with tension. I feel like something's going to grab it and knock it off at any moment. And I'm sitting here tweaking this like crazy, trying to make it the perfect oval. That's just what I do. I'm constantly tweaking. Sometimes I have to stop myself. But little jump ring, you could, I've showed you in the past how you can pinch one of these and turn it into a hook and just connect it right there to that. Or you could get a, what's it called? You could get a lobster clasp and a few jump rings, and that makes it adjustable. Lobster clasp on one side, a few jump rings on the other, and then it can open up and fit any wrist, depending on which jump ring you clasp it to. So let's do that.